We are absolutely surrounded by data, right? But what is it all actually trying to tell us? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on data analytics, that really powerful process that turns all that raw information into smart decisions. It's shaping everything from the products we buy to the way businesses are run. Let's dive in.
So let me start by asking you a question. Think about your company's biggest headache right now. Could be lagging sales, maybe unhappy customers, or just things moving way too slow. What if the answer to that problem is already there, just kind of hidden away in your data? Today, we're going to talk about how to find it.
Okay, so to answer that huge question, we've got to start with the basics. What exactly is data analytics, and how do we even begin to listen to what our data is trying to tell us? At its very heart, data analytics is a process. It's this systematic journey of taking raw and, let's be honest, often messy data and turning it into something clear, actionable, and actually meaningful. It's not just about crunching numbers. It's really about solving problems. A great way to think about it is like being a detective. The data has all the clues, but they're scattered all over the place and don't make any sense by themselves. Analytics is like our magnifying glass and forensics kit that lets us piece it all together and reveal the story that's been hiding there all along. So, what's all this detective work for? Well, it really comes down to 4 key goals. First, it helps us understand what's happening right now, answering questions like, how are sales this month? Then, it helps us identify problems, asking, wait, why did our sales suddenly drop? From there, we can spot trends. Which times of year do our sales usually go up? And all of that leads to the most important question of all. So, what should we do about it? That's how we go from just looking at numbers to actually making smart moves. And that journey from data to a final decision, it's not just random guesswork. It's a structured, repeatable process that you can follow every time. This whole thing follows a really clear path. You always start with a specific problem you need to solve. Then you go out and collect the right data, you prep it, which means cleaning out all the noise, and only then do you get to the analysis. But finding a cool pattern isn't the end of the story. The real magic happens in the interpretation, figuring out what it all means, which is what lets you make a truly informed decision. If you try to skip a step, the whole thing can just fall apart. So, who's the person guiding this whole process? Well, that's where the data analyst comes in. Think of them as a super important bridge. They connect the technical world of data and code with the practical world of business goals. They're the translators who turn numbers into a story that people can actually understand and use. So on any given day, this means they're doing a lot more than just running some analysis. They're collecting and cleaning data, sure, but they're also figuring out what it means for the business, creating really clear reports and visuals, and basically acting as a trusted guide for the people making the big decisions. All right, now that we know what data analytics is and kind of how it works, let's look at where it's making a real difference out in the wild. And the short answer is pretty much everywhere. From marketing, where it helps us understand what customers want, to the factory floor, where it helps make production more efficient. Whether you're analyzing sales trends, planning budgets in finance, or even trying to understand employee turnover in HR, data analytics is a core part of just about every team in a modern company. Now, here's a quick but really important point. You might hear people use analytics and statistics like they're the same thing. They're not exactly. Think of statistics as the theoretical toolbox. It gives us all the math and the core principles. Data analytics, on the other hand, takes that toolbox and actually uses it to solve real-world business problems. It's theory put into practice. Okay, so what about AI? Analytics and AI are basically partners. Analytics is all about helping us understand the past and the present. It answers what happened and why it happened. AI then takes that understanding and uses it to predict the future, answering what will happen next. You could say analytics builds the solid foundation that all those powerful AI models are built on. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most important section. See, data analytics isn't just a technical thing you do. It's a powerful, strategic tool. At the core of all of this is a very human skill: analytical thinking. It's about how you approach problems, breaking them down into smaller pieces, looking for cause and effect, and using logic and actual evidence, not just a gut feeling, to figure things out. And honestly, this might be the most important takeaway of all. This way of thinking isn't just for the data scientists in the corner. In today's world, it's a critical skill for every single effective leader and manager. It's about shifting the mindset of the entire organization. And when a whole company starts to think this way, the payoff is huge. Decisions get way more accurate, you get better at managing risks, costs go down, and performance goes up. And what does all that add up to? A powerful, real competitive advantage. So, if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. Data analytics isn't some technical department off in a silo. It's a strategic management tool. It's how modern companies see things clearly, act with confidence, and find their way to win in a really complex world. And so the final question isn't really about whether data has power. We know it does. It's whether we're ready to actually use it. So take a look at your own company. Is it truly set up to listen to what its data is saying? That's the challenge, but it's also the opportunity. Thanks for tuning in.